Hello and thank you to the channel, Kelly Legends Media. I want to thank all the subscribers. There's been a big influx of subscribers recently. I want to welcome all of you to the channel. And to all the subscribers, please make sure your notification bells are on all so that you'll be notified when we go live. We're going to be going live, I believe, maybe at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And so you could be notified and maybe participate. You might have some questions or some things you'd like to talk about. If you've been a subscriber for a long time, it was recommended to me that you guys unsubscribe and resubscribe and turn on that notification bell to make sure that you're connected, and put it on all. Okay? All right. And for those of you who haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, the like button. If you don't like the video, hit the dislike button. And I'd appreciate it if you leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the material, the content, the subject, all of that. Okay, so let me get started. This video's about the Menendez brothers, but I'm still going to mention Exhibit and his experience with these brothers in Donovan State Prison. I believe Exhibit was put in the part of the prison where there are high-profile cases or famous people or people with a lot of money. A certain type of protective custody for those types of people that are in prison. The Menendez brothers are in there. They got a sentence that's life without the possibility of parole. When you have life without the possibility of parole, that means you're going to die in prison. That's what they sentenced you to death in prison. Okay? The only way you're leaving is when you stop breathing. So anyways, these two brothers were arrested for unaliving their mother and father. I remember when this took place, I was already grown, and I remember following it through the news and stuff. And you never really heard about kids doing that to their parents. After this case, yeah, you heard about it a few times where kids unalive their parents. In any case, related to Exhibit in one of his interviews, that the Menendez brothers were very instrumental in helping him understand how to invest his money. They taught him about stocks and bonds, about IRAs and different investments to grow his cash. A very intelligent man and knew how to make money. Dude was in prison recording his music. Right? That when I say that and you hear that, you're like, oh, well, and what? He got the music sent out to the producers, who actually got the music on air, online, and and he was making money off his music in prison, which is man, you got to think out of the box to pull something like that off. You need certain equipment, certain recording equipment, and it's not allowed in prison. You're not allowed to have recording instruments, whether it be vocal recording or pictures, recorders. You can't have anything that records in prison. So this guy was pretty savvy already. And then he runs into these brothers who get at him and help him realize a bunch of things about how he's living, how he carries himself, and his potentials and stuff. I'm gonna do a separate video, and there'll be also in the regarding just how much he helped this man. In any case, they were in part of the prison, like I think I said already, that held high-profile inmates, with high-profile cases, or they were very well known in the music industry, or famous people. Okay, it's like a protective custody for that. In any case, the Menendez brothers, who this video's primarily about, unalived their parents in 1989. I remember watching it when it came out on the news, when they discovered the bodies and everything, These two men, Lyle Menendez and Eric Menendez, they were 18 years old and 21 years old. Now, I don't know if you're aware of the new law that was passed that releases people that were under 25 years of age who were sent to prison and charged with certain crimes and given long sentences, okay? Not including life without parole, okay? So a lot of people under the age of 25 when they committed their crime and had did a substantial amount of time and had completed certain programs and satisfied certain criteria of the parole board were released from prison. You know, a lot of guys who thought they'd never see the light of day, they got out, okay? Now, Lyle and Eric Menendez didn't fall under that category, okay, because of the LWOP, the life without parole. Nevertheless, they were able to substantiate the stuff they said in court with some new evidence that surfaced, okay? But before we get into that, let me just tell you a little bit about the case. I'm sure you've either seen it on Netflix or you heard about it on YouTube. There's a lot of videos that were released about it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on who these two gentlemen are and what they did. It's pretty much very, very well known. So like I said, they were 18 to 21 years old when they committed this crime of unaliving their mother and their father. And they were sentenced for first degree unaliving, okay? After the case was over and they were sent to separate prisons. Eric went to Folsom and Pleasant Valley, and Lyle ended up in Milk Creek, okay? And they did a good amount of their time there, okay? Starting in 1999, they began their appeal, going through the whole process of appealing the case, okay? That lasted to 2005, and it was denied all the way through. They didn't get no action. And in 2018, these two brothers, end up getting both sent to Donovan State Prison on the same yard. They're together over there, okay? Something that they were hoping for from the very beginning, but these brothers were very close and they were separated. They ended up on the same yard together. And one of the brothers has been very instrumental in the self-help programs there in the prison. Both of them have completed a lot of different programs and stuff. Nevertheless, they weren't found eligible under the new law about being under 25 years of age when convicted. They say that up to the age of 25, your brain isn't fully developed. You still think as a child and act upon things that a fully developed adult would not act on and stuff, okay? And that's why a lot of these men are given chances to re-enter society and get a new chance at life now that they're fully developed and grown men. Some of them old men. So one of the things that came out that was said in the trial was that the father was molesting the two brothers, okay? And what kind of substantiates the possibility that this man was actually doing that was a member of this band called MENUDO, okay? The band was from the 70s and 80s. There was a band called MENUDO that had like 5, 6 young kids that danced and sang, and they became very popular with the young girls and stuff, you know. And Jose Menendez, the dad, was an executive and helped with the management of the band. Well, one of the members came out in 2003 and shared his story about being molested by Jose Menendez, the dad. Okay, so aside from the son saying this back then, now this man comes forward that totally separate situation, uh, testified, okay, that Jose actually did have his way with him, not once, not twice, but thrice, 3 times. Okay, so the dad was a crooked ass man. Okay, no doubt. Also, a letter that Eric had written to his cousin before the parents were unalived was discovered, okay, by I believe it was the sister of the father. Her son, which is Eric's cousin, received a letter from Eric where Eric was telling him, hey, man, I'm afraid that my dad's going to come in the room tonight. You know, he's still doing that to me, and I'm really afraid and everything. And substantiated that even before the unaliving took place, that there was discussion between him and family members that the father was doing this to him. Well, the Jose Menendez, the dad that was unalived, his sister found that letter in the cousin's stuff. After the cousin passed away, she was going through his things and found that letter, okay? Which is a new piece of evidence that substantiates, again, that it's very possible that, yeah, they were being messed with. So that type of activity is viewed differently now than it was back then. It's been studied more, the effects on kids that go through that and stuff. And like, it's hard for me to express my opinion about these two guys and whether they deserve to be released because of that, or because I've never been through it. So I don't know how devastating it is, and I'm sure it's devastating. They were big guys already. I don't know how they let the father do that, because they were grown, 18 and what was it, 21 years old. They should have jumped the dad. Anyways, that sure would have been better than unaliving him and the mother. And I guess the mother was having psychological issues and stuff, and was accused of allowing the dad to do this to her kids. And it was mentioned that she even not just allowed it, but kind of egged the dad on. They're just allegations. It's something that's very difficult, and would even be very difficult now to prove, yet alone back then. Nevertheless, the mother was accused of being always being high on pills and being drunk, and it was a very dysfunctional house, very dysfunctional family. Even though these guys, these two guys, man, they had it all. One was going to Princeton, very prestigious school. If he would have been able to get through that, can you imagine the type of career he could have had, and the kind of money he could have made, and the kind of life he could have lived? And even Eric got treated a little shabby. He was gonna go. They were gonna put him through. I think it was UCLA, which is still a good university, but not like Princeton and Harvard and those type of schools. Nevertheless, they had their futures pretty much cut out for them. And I know a lot of people say, well, why didn't they just leave? They didn't have to do that to their parents. Those kids they grew up different than a lot of kids, living that kind of lifestyle, living at that level. And to think, man, if I leave, where am I going to get money from? How am I going to survive? They'd have to start down at the bottom, with a lot of kids that leave their homes being homeless, and moneyless, and doing the things that kids got to do to get money. Rob, cheat, steal. Some of them, sell themselves. Who knows? But that would have been the position they would have put themselves in by leaving, just walking away, which would have been even better than spending your entire life in prison, you know? Maybe they could have talked to a relative about what was going on and went with one of them, you know? I don't know. I'm sure there must have been something else they could have did than the route that they took. But like I said, I've never been through the kind of stuff that these two men have been through, so I can't say just exactly how they felt. And to drive them to do that, that's pretty heavy when you do something like that to your parents, you know. One of the things that really screwed the Menendez brothers over was during the second trial, the judge didn't allow the jury to come back with a manslaughter charge. A lot of times they could charge somebody with a first degree or a second degree and still come back with a manslaughter a decision. Oh, he's innocent of the first degree, he's innocent of the second degree, but we find him guilty of manslaughter, you know. And for the most part of this case, if it went down the way the Menendez brothers say it did, and now with this new evidence and stuff, if they were to vacate this sentence or overturn it, they'd get out. Even if they gave them a new trial, at the very least, they'll get a manslaughter, found guilty for manslaughter, which would mean that they served their time. Time served, they will get out. So I believe these two guys are going to be out one day. You know, all indications are they're gonna be out one day. I think public opinion is going to have a lot to do with it. This still has a ways to go, but I believe that those two guys are going to come out and have another chance at life. And I really believe that if they did, I think they'd do well. You know, they've been through something that's unbelievably difficult to deal with and handle, and I'm sure they've learned a lot. I don't think they would do anything foolish to end up back in prison. You know, I think they'd appreciate their freedom and the chance that they'd be given. You know, it's hard to call. Is it a miscarriage of justice, or is it justice in its purest form? You know, like, that was something crazy. You know, when I seen it on the news, man, it stopped me in my tracks. I had to sit down and listen to this. And every time there was something about it on TV, I had to hear it, man, because it blew my mind. You know, it's hard enough to do something like that to a person, yet alone your parents. You know, and then they use a shotgun, and a shotgun creates a lot of damage. You know, I went to the mountains shooting my shotgun. When I used to go up there with my rifles, I had a 30-30 rifle, a couple of Marvin Glenfield 22s, 12 gauge, different rifles, right? And the shotgun, man, would just like blow shit up, disintegrate stuff, you know. You know, people even get shot with a bullet. It goes in, you know, it could be a hole like this when it went in, and the back gets blown out, you know. It's just the nature of the beast, you know. And these two parents got it more than once, you know. So you could imagine how it looked, you know, and how that scene was. And it had to have been gruesome, you know. That was a bad deal that went down. Anyways, I just wanted to do I was asked actually on the comment section to do a video about this. So I'd appreciate it if you join me in the comment section, cut it up about this. I've been getting a little bit better on responding to my comment section. The last video on Gunner got a very big response. So, so there was a lot of comments, and I really couldn't keep up. I'm still working on those, and now I'm letting this video out. But I enjoy talking to all of the subscribers so much, man, and to get the different opinions, and I learn a lot from the things that I'm reading, as far as like judging people. And you know, I I got issues too. I do things too that, hey, sometimes they come to light just going through the comment section. I'm very judgmental. And somebody mentioned, hey, Lucky, the same measure that you use to judge people is going to be the same measure that you're going to be judged by. And it's true. And I think maybe that's the way I am. That people are very, very judgmental of me about a lot of things. The more shit you're into, and the more people involved, you always have an opposition. You always have somebody who feels or thinks differently, and it is what it is. And I think that's very, very true. So I think it's helping me on how I judge people. I really can't call it with these two guys. They've been through a lot and stuff, but like in any case, I don't think nothing really justifies doing that to your parents. But like I said, I don't know how it is to experience what they went through. And I might do something like that, if my dad was treating me and my brother that way. Yeah, he'd be in very, very much danger of me reacting like that. Not just for myself, but for my brother, or especially a sister, especially if they were younger than me, So I don't know. I can't call it. There's a lot of moving parts to this one. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I hope everything's going good with everybody. Let's do what we can to stay free. I know it's not easy sometimes to bite our tongues when you encounter like these idiots and stuff, when you're out and about. But let's do our best, whatever we got to do to stay on the right side. Even if you get into something, stay on the right side of the law, so that way you don't end up spending a lot of time being incarcerated or locked up for trying to defend your family or yourself, and it turned into something where you did the most when you could have did the least. Let's stay free. Let's stay strong. Let's get over those obstacles in our life that cause us to think a certain type of way, because it's very easy to lose our freedoms for the rest of our life, and catch a life without, even if you think you're in the right and you think what you're doing is the right thing to do and the right response. You see what happened with these kids, So thank you for watching, and God bless you and your families. Hope to see you on the next video. Don't forget, turn your notification bells on, guys. Thank you.